Hello, Gloucester Township. Welcome to the Restore GT podcast. Today is, what is it today? It's going to be October 6th when this airs.
Yeah, October 6th.
Friday, October 6th. Yeah. Doing it on a Thursday night instead of a Friday night, as usual.
Yeah.
So it's...
We had a little bit of a delay. You were away on vacation, so we haven't actually been able to communicate. You've been out on the high seas.
Yeah, it's on a boat. On a boat, Oasis of the Seas. Yeah. Great boat to be on. If you folks have never cruised before, I'd highly recommend it. Did it last year and then just went back this year and said, I'm going to do the same exact thing again because it was so much fun.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm over it. I'm ready to go on.
Back in Gloucester Township.
Over to the next destination.
Ready to report the news to each and every one of you.
I pulled up the meeting on the cruise ship.
Oh, you're too much.
We stopped back to our room, and I was like, oh, man, council meeting's going live. And my wife goes, if you even. All right, I am not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I'll catch up.
Good call.
So I think I watched it.
There wasn't a whole lot of topics, but the topics that did take place were very impactful. So there was a lot to unpack in a little bit of content, if that makes any sense. So
I did. I saw that there were some video clips coming out on it, and the folks behind the scenes were posting some stuff up for us, and I'm like, man, there must be some good content because we got some clips of council meetings, and I can't wait to. Yeah. Part of me couldn't wait to get back to find out what was going on.
Well, so we started off the meeting with a question about an invoice that was on the bill list for our media company that we pay a lot every month to, which is around $7,000 or so per month, and then all of a sudden there's another $40,000 invoice, and I'm like, oh, hold on, excuse me, what did we pay $40,000 for? So Dina asked the question. Dina Hendry, one of the regulars, you'd say, at council meetings. She's also running for school board this year. But she asked the question, and I guess you could play the clip on this, the explanation of what that was.
Dina Hendry, Summerdale. Looking at the bill list, there is a invoice or charge for Blue Wire Media for $39,500. By any chance, do we know what that's for? That's
our meeting consultant. Do you have a specific invoice on that?
I don't have the invoice, but I'm familiar with the expenditure, and that would have been for advertising on cable television for recycling ads with mayor, which is permissible under the state of New Jersey for the annual fund grant.
So you could barely understand or make out what he was saying there, right?
Yeah. That never happens, according to him. Everybody always understands him.
Yeah,
I actually think you see that the clip gets
it's zoomed in.
It zooms in because, one, I was looking for his microphone, but then two, I cut the clip and then zoomed it in because I wanted to lift his audio up because you couldn't really hear it.
Right.
And that's... according to them, nobody ever mentions our.
No, you can't. No one's ever said it.
I always hear this. So
I'm not going to get into it right now, but yeah,
it came up. It came up right after that. Somebody said, "We can't hear you." Here you go.
So yeah, watch his arms.
I'm sorry, somebody had moved it aside.
Somebody.
Then there are some people. They're not stupid. They're full of shit. That doesn't take very long to spot either, does it? Take you about the same amount of time. You'll be listening to some guy and say, well, he's fairly intelligent. He's full of shit.
If you can't hear, please move up there.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Oh, if you can't hear, move up.
Yeah.
Folks, there's a lot of us at home that can't make it there.
Yeah.
Some of us are on cruise ships.
Right.
The point isn't that the people in the back of the room can't hear you. The point is The recording can't hear you.
Right. You say in the opening statement that we need to have a clear and audible record.
Yes.
And you can't hear. It's not clear or audible. And by the way, the microphones are there also, not just for that recording, but how about everybody in that room, no matter where the seats are in that room, you should be able to hear. You should not have to move up to the front of the room. We're not in your living room watching TV and you can't hear it.
It's kind of like sitting down at this table before we go.
Right.
Where's the mic?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every one of those sits down and there's a mic pointing in front of them.
Hey, I know you guys, we want you to watch our podcast, but we're going to not really, we're going to put...
We're going to move the mics over here.
If you guys really wanted to hear it, you should just come over and just move up. Come here.
It's frustrating.
It's like, you ever see that? I think it's Instagram or TikTok guy where he's like, come here. And he like zooms in. Like the guy does the...
oh, no.
Oh, you ever seen that?
No.
It's really annoying, but yeah, that's what she's doing. Really really annoying.
Yeah, Troxel obviously thinks it's just for the people in the back, but it's actually for the people at home that can't hear is the biggest issue. And a lot of folks, they've got they've got things going on and they watch it from home.
But if you saw the in that video, he literally goes, he has to like move his seat, reach around and grab his microphone to pull it back. Oh, somebody moved it.
I don't.
Right, I did see. Did you see the little raccoon that ran through earlier? And then he like grabbed it and ran with it, and then he pushed it off to the other direction.
The mic was behind the time clock. It was so far away. It wasn't even.
He literally had to lean over. Go back and play it over again. Anyway, what we did speak back on topic now. That $40,000 invoice.
Yes.
Had to do with a recycling commercial, which I found hilarious. That the council president had to kick it off to someone else to answer.
Council president
can't
didn't even know.
imagine what could possibly. Tom, that's our media consultant. Do you have any idea what that bill was for?
Yeah.
From the man in the damn commercial that they paid $40,000 for, that was explained that it was paid for by the whatever grant it was, but. Is that not hilarious? Like, why can't you literally answer that question? You knew the answer. You were in the commercial that cost $40,000.
Let's take a peek at this commercial. I could not find a clip of this commercial online, so
yeah, it's
a resident taped it basically with their phone for us. So apologies for the quality, but let's just sample this clip.
Hi, I'm Gloucester Township Mayor Dave Mayer.
And I'm Council President Orlando Mercado.
And we need your help. Our Gloucester Township single-stream recycling program can only be successful if everyone does their part. Working together and participating in the program has saved the township money and helped the environment. So remember,
recycle everything you can.
But don't forget, plastic bags, pizza boxes, and toys are not recyclable. For a complete list, visit glowtwip.com.
Thanks for doing your part.
Let's keep Gloucester
State of New
Township
Jersey Municipal Recycling.
Well, one of the takeaways that I just caught on that is that they say that it saves us money.
Right.
We already know that it doesn't save us money.
We have a clip that I didn't pull it up for this here, but we should have, of Tom Carter saying how much money it costs us more money to recycle than it does to throw things away. But yeah, let's spend $40,000 of your taxpayer dollars on a commercial.
Yeah, so it's a tough spot because, like, I'm good with recycling so that we're not putting stuff in landfills. I'm kind of good with that. I'm okay with the additional expense. Don't tell me that you are saving me money.
That's my point.
Yeah,
right.
Don't tell me you're saving me money.
Yeah.
You're not saving me money. But yes, I am okay with spending a little bit more to recycle and not throw the stuff in landfills. It's
no different than somebody that's okay with buying Fiji water and spending a little bit more than Deer Park,
Yeah.
I understand and I'm aware of the additional cost. I'm glad to recycle, but don't spend my tax dollars to put a commercial on TV to tell me that you're saving me money when that's actually the opposite of what it is.
Yeah, plus we went back and looked at the other. There are many commercials. There was a commercial with like a little doll before. There was a commercial that was like 2 years ago. There's many commercials. There's many commercials on the YouTube page that they've done for recycling.
Right.
Run that commercial again.
Right. There's no timestamp on it.
There's a reason for this commercial, and there's a reason that this recycling commercial runs right before November.
Why is that?
Because the person in that recycling commercial is up for re-election.
And they weren't on the other commercials?
Before David Mayer was up for re-election. That was the last time that we had a recycling commercial.
Okay.
And now this time, Council President Orlando Mercado is up for re-election. So you just paid.
You paid part of.
You just paid for a political ad.
Yeah, basically.
That's what it was.
I think you're a conspiracy theorist. This pattern that you're talking about can't possibly be true. We can't raise taxes on years that there's no election.
That's exactly what happens.
It can't possibly be that we only go out and put a commercial on years that there's an election, and they just not even just the years. Let's be real, as he's stated before, right?
Let's keep it real.
Let's keep it real.
Yep.
Right around the time that
mail-in ballots
and voting happens.
That commercial
somehow that commercial starts airing. I gotcha. Okay.
Man, what that commercial? My wife saw that commercial on. I believe it was Tuesday. She said, "The Mercado guy's on a recycling commercial," and then her and I went through several episodes of Sister Wives, because that's what she happened to be watching on demand, and fast forwarded through, and it wasn't there because Comcast changes the ads out, and then I looked everywhere online because I was fired up because this guy's getting free advertising from taxpayer dollars to be in front of you, to be in front of you on the TV, so that when you go to vote, you remember his name. And sure enough, I started to text people, and other people said, "Oh, I saw that." And then somebody grabbed it for me and sent it to me yesterday. So, thank you to that person that sent me that clip.
Well, anyway, so the whole topic of those different things of certain bills get paid at certain times and this, that, and the other happens. It's all a big scheme, right? We've talked about this multiple times on this podcast about the machine that we have to deal with, right? And the machine we have to deal with is funded basically by taxpayers through a method of certain vendor. Whoa, you're right.
My chair fell down by itself.
You know what? My chair is always really low. But yeah, it's funded by a cycle of vendors who want to get government contracts, who would donate to a political campaign or a PAC, which is a political action committee, or the campaign directly. And what happens is then they get awarded contracts. Yeah, there's a bidding process that's supposed to happen, through that. But if there actually was a fair bidding process and you were the actual, the best person for the job, you would be awarded the contract. Why is it? And this has been a question that's been going on for the ages, as long as you can remember.
We're kind of at the point now where nobody bids either.
We are 100% at that point because everybody knows I didn't donate, I can't donate, I'm not bidding on that contract. We already know, X, Y, or Z is getting that contract. So, if you were to go back in time a week or so ago, two weeks or so, whatever the last meeting was, Dina Hendry, the one that was in that last clip that we had, she went up there and she made a comment about pay-to-play vendors, which struck a nerve with our council president, who kind of started to...
they kind of put her on the spot.
Right, put her on the spot and said, "What do you mean by the pay-to-play thing?" And then, then also proceeded to tell her that, "I know where you live, and good people used to live there."
Yeah.
Used to, she lives there now, but she was told they used to live there. So that fired her up. I mean,
she went home, did some homework.
It didn't just fire her up. It fired me up to sit there and listen. Are you kidding me? Are you really? It was infuriating to sit there and watch. And she had a little bit of time until the next meeting, and she was also told that some of her friends don't like his friends, and his friends don't like her friends. So some of her friends helped her compose a little rebuttal to what that was. So why don't you play that clip here of what that is?
I don't think that dude's got friends, but Yeah, but yeah. So let's check out Dina's rebuttal here.
Good evening, Dina Hendry, Summerdale. Last meeting, I mentioned pay to play. I was asked by the council president if I wanted to expand on this comment. I actually would like to take the time to expand. For those that may not know, pay to play is a practice that has been root in here in Gloucester Township and has raised significant concerns about corruption, impartial representation, and conflicts of interest. It threatens the integrity of our township and it destroys the trust of our residents and our local government. For those that may not know, pay to play is a term used to describe the exchange of something of value in government for political donations. It is a practice not only that could be conceived as unethical, some may say it's illegal. Pay to play has a cost to taxpayers, which would be millions of dollars, and has undermined the trust that we have placed in our local government. These pay to play vendors and contractors do not spend their money to make these donations. They pass the cost of doing business here in this township to the taxpayers through elevated billing that is not scrutinized by our elected representatives. Since Mayor has returned to Gloucester Township, Team Mayor's campaign funds and affiliated PACs have collected a shocking $2.9 million in political donations. What has my spidey senses alarming is that this is virtually that all this money has come from donors who receive something of value from our local government. Mind you, these are not residents of Gloucester Township who are donating. They are businesses. They are businesses that have reaped the benefits, including lucrative government contracts and approvals of corporate developers from our planning board and redevelopment entity, and possibly other favors such as appointed jobs within our township. The connection between political donations and these awards contracts is too blatant to be dismissed as a mere coincidence, even for me who loves wearing rose-colored glasses. The 7 largest play-to-play donors in Gloucester Township have donated a significant sum ranging from over $108,000 to $500,000. These firms are awarded valuable professional contracts through an open bidding process on paper. However, it is questionable why they feel the need to make political donations in a town where they don't even have a business office. I would like to add there is an alarming pattern of these firms consistently winning contracts and appointments year after year. Some may want an example of an outward excessive payment to a play-to-play firm. Let's take Remington and Vernick, who are paid an exorbitant amounts for consulting on a minor project. Such instances should require scrutiny by our representatives, but our council remains silent. This silence is concerning, as every member of our council benefits from political donations from these pay-to-play firms. Back to PACs. The largest of these political action committees is Gloucester Township Citizens for Government Reform. This is chaired by Cindy Collermere. This is the same PAC that took it upon themselves to send a letter about myself and another school board candidate last year, which I may add was laced with lies. It is crucial to note that our mayor and council president control such PACs, about 5 of them in this township. The officers of these PACs include president of the Black Horse School Board, zoning, planning, housing authority, and township employees. Their family members, former executive of the MUA, and former mayor. It is evident that the current government officials are enabling the practice of pay-to-play, which compromises the interests of these residents of this township. Our residents deserve an honest and trustworthy government that prioritizes the interests of the residents above all else. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that the principles of fairness, impartiality, and ethical governance is upheld in this township. I hope now you have clarity on my pay to play. And also for the record, I am aware that very good people used to live at 89 Lamppost Lane. When I bought that house, I found out that that man who was the fire chief saved a little boy at Disney. And I thought that was absolutely phenomenal. Also for the record, there are good people that live at 89 Lamppost Lane. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Woo! Oh man, what a dick to not respond to. I just
Oh no, he brought that response on himself by the comment that he made the last time about you want to expand on that and trying to get. How many times have you watched people go up there and be gaslit? And she's like, you know what?
And then
you want to make that comment about you want to expand on that? Actually, yeah, I do. And here's 5 minutes of me expanding on it, explaining to people what that actually means.
Well, yeah.
How that impacts
anytime
us.
you're asked anytime you ask any kind of question, most of the time they have to come back to you. So that's exactly what she did in this situation.
Yeah.
And there was no response at all. Just a cold. Anybody else?
Is there anybody else? Yeah.
As a person, if I had said something like that would have insinuated that the people living at that house now aren't good people, I'd have commented.
Right.
Just to say that's not what I meant. Maybe it came out wrong.
Yeah. No.
How anybody would think that Dean is not a good person is beyond me.
What if you viewed yourself as above the peons that come up and bother you that you have to deal with because that's the law?
There's an individual that thinks that they're untouchable, which, man, it really kind of touches on a recent thing that just happened too. So
yeah.
I was, the PAC that she mentioned, the Citizens for Government Reform, if you are, I believe, I don't know how targeted this was, but I believe if you were a female in Gloucester Township, my wife got it, and other people that got it were also female.
That is, I didn't notice that, but you're right. Everyone that mentioned it to me was a female.
So
they assume their gender.
Yeah. So if you go back to, I wish I had this thing in front of me here, and I could put it up on the screen, but it's the latest article on RestoreGT.com. It's also on the patch. If you remember the Sam Sweet thing that went back to, Sam shared some stuff in basically an off-color Facebook group where it's like kind of like off-color humor kind of thing. And Sam shared something that had to do with like breasts, and that's what they attacked him on that.
Yeah, during the last campaign, they had that whole website, right?
It was a whole website, sweetthecreep.com, and stopsweetthecreep.com, so whatever it was. And I thought, well, you know what? If that's all you've got to go against, this guy's been attacking all of your policies, your budgeting, everything else. This is your defense against him.
Really?
Like then you really know that you've not done well. And that take that I guess I don't ever remember defending it, but anyway, a mailer went out that said I defended misogynistic and offensive behavior.
Council candidate or something.
They said that my former council candidate.
No, he was running for mayor.
He was running for mayor. So the idiot that did that flyer didn't even get that part right, but they insinuated that I supported misogynistic behavior, and I don't know. I mean, many people don't really know me personally. I generally, outside of a podcast that I talked myself into. I don't know. I'm generally a pretty reserved person, and I got a screenshot of that while I was on a cruise ship, and I wanted to swim home because I was so fired up to talk about how ridiculous this thing was.
Oh, somebody bothered you with that while you're out in the ocean?
Yeah, they did. And but it was paid for by the PAC that Cindy Carlemere runs. And of course, the bottom part of it was said that I made fun of Gloucester Township voters, and it was basically because of their poor decision making. And
yeah,
I 100% agree with that. I mean, we're not here because we make great decisions, right? We're here because Gloucester Township voters stay home. We're at a 40%. We're at a 40% voting rate. So yeah, I did call voters out on that. So 100% I did. So yeah, I don't know if that offends voters. Well, I'm sorry. It's not like you're going to vote against me because you stayed home anyway. So
if you didn't show up, are you really a voter?
Yeah,
right?
well, they're registered. That's the problem. We have 50,000 registered,
Right.
and we have 20,000 that vote. So, yeah, look, folks, I feel like I'm doing my part. I feel like Keith's done his part, and I feel like a lot of people do their part, but there's just a lot of people that don't do their part. So, anyway, I got off on a little tangent.
Wow, you're off
I got off on a little tangent there. But at the same time, when we start talking about pay to play, and you realize that when people, like you and I mean, you've managed to crack through and represent our schools, nicely. When other people want to step up and just represent other parts of our government here, they don't stand a chance because they're up against so much money.
Yeah, you're up against that machine, and that's what she was not alluding to. She was flat out saying it, but the way that it's always done, and you were saying that the Citizens for Government Reform, which that she mentioned, and she was talking about PACs. The PACs are a way that the different vendors are able to kind of skate the rules of, okay, you can only donate a maximum amount to this thing here. So what happens is the let's just use Remington and Vernick as an example. They're one of the top donors around here. They'll donate, say, it's the whatever it is, the campaign right now for who's running right now, Winters or Walters, whatever. So Orlando, Mignon. So they can donate just I don't know, I didn't even know the amounts here, but say the maximum is $2,500. They donate $2,500 here, but they really want to give you like $20,000. So what they're going to do is spread it out and say, okay, here I'm going to donate to this PAC here because this PAC here is actually going to write mailers that go to people's houses and say Joe Allen, is
yes,
he slams voters in Gloucester Township. So we're going to donate $2,500 there, and then we're going to donate $2,500 to this PAC over here because this PAC's going to go do a commercial on TV that says such and such. So they keep donating. All of those PACs have the same goal, I guess you'd call it. In interest is to get their candidates.
Get
in office.
The same people elected.
So the way that they skate around is just to donate to all these different things. Who knows what the money's actually spent on or in? It's a whole other podcast, or if you really want to get into it. But bottom line, every one of those people, I guess, that are donating were called out by another resident. So this resident sat there and said, "You know what? I'm going to expand on what she said." Because she also was kind of hurt and offended by what they had said to Dina, and maybe she was one of Dina's friends that helped her in writing that. I don't know. But what happens is she goes up and she just starts naming and rattling off, and it's pretty amazing. You sit there and listen to the amounts of money. I don't know if you guys caught it in there. They said it's $2.9 million, and this is all verifiable. References available, on the website.
Yeah, I think we actually
on ELEC. Yeah, it's ELEC is a thing where you have to register how much money was donated to you. So it's not a made up number. This is a regulated thing. The donations, $2.9 million to have contracts in Gloucester Township, where all you needed to do to have the contract in Gloucester Township was to be the best vendor and submit the best proposal. Instead, read the names that are, or listen to the names that are on here, and then go and see who are our bills paid to.
That's the thing.
Oh, those almost look like mirror images of each other. How's that?
I mean, take into consideration anybody that runs against these folks, that what they have to do to raise money. I mean, my campaign planned for months for a fundraiser that raised less than $10,000.
Right.
By the time our fundraiser had finished and we had gotten less than $10,000, they had already $70,000 in there, and I'm sure they're probably at $100,000 already. They generally will do $100,000 spend.
Well, for the school board, when I ran for school board, they spent almost $100,000 on on the campaign for a non-paid position.
Yeah,
you don't get paid for that. At least, not that it's a lot of money, but at least for council, they're being paid. What's it, like $8,000 or something, around there. But still, seriously,
I mean,
$100,000 for
it kind of comes down to you almost want to reach out to every one of these companies and say, why are you donating this? Are you donating this?
Well, that's what
so
they'll ask you.
that
They say, well, I don't know. Ask the company why they donated the money. I can't answer why they did that.
And I think if you put the company on the spot and say, the money that you donate goes to attack regular people. They don't I don't have an agenda. Like I just wanted to help out. And you wanted to help out. And Dina wanted to help out.
Right.
And everybody on my team, none of them wanted to be councilmen. They just wanted to help out. And now there's attack ads that these companies have paid for.
Right.
They go against them, and I don't think the companies realize that, because I don't think the companies get called out.
They don't care, Joe. It's about dollars, and this goes into, we had this conversation before. If you picked up and moved everybody, all of us into another, in I don't know, Alabama or somewhere, I don't know what it is. The machine that we would be talking about would be the Republican machine, not the Democrat machine, right? Right here in South Jersey, in Gloucester Township, it's the Democratic machine.
Well, yeah, that's
personally, from how government should work and operate, and how, what role the government has in our lives, I would be against it if we were in a Republican town, saying that they're acting like a machine. You know what I mean? It's the people that are in place are not Democrats as far as national politics are concerned necessarily. They just want to be in power. Is that, you know what I mean? That's
the part that hurts me when we talk about this, and when we write articles about the kind of this treatment is, you have to call them the Democrat machine,
right?
Because they are the Democrat machine. But I hate the thought of saying that we're against Democrats. We're not. Dina Hendry is. I
have friends. I have no idea what any of them are politically. It doesn't matter.
I believe she's registered Democrat. People that I ran with 2 years ago were Democrats. There are good people from every party, and there are bad people from every party. But this particular machine knew what it's doing, because it placed it, because it changed our elections to nonpartisan to partisan elections, because they knew in a Democrat town, in a Democrat county, in a Democrat state, that was the safe way to go.
Right.
So the machine is doing what it's doing to survive.
And so in addition to that, I guess where I started going on this trail was Remington and Vernick, if we were using that as an example. If you went to a town, and I don't know what town is red or blue or what, Republican or Democrat, but I do know.
Tom's River is Republican.
Okay, so let's use Tom's River as an example. If you go to Tom's River, I guarantee you that Remington and Vernick donated to the Republicans in that town. They donate to wherever the power is, because they're eager to stay in there, having the taxpayers pay the money.
It's not some big Democrat firm, but if your town deals in this pay-to-play
scheme, basically,
and what was it, like 2011? I forget when it was now. There were a few gentlemen that tried to end pay-to-play in Gloucester Township. And
actually, one of them's still on council, and he's the one that proposed it, but then he backed off of it and never came up again.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Oh, who was that?
Hutchison.
Oh, he was against pay-to-play.
Yeah, he wrote an ordinance around it, and then he pulled it back from the vote for the night of that it was supposed to go to vote. And then apparently never didn't show up again the following time or something. There was an article about it online. I remember reading, but
I know that there were some residents too that pressed for it, and it wound up being shot down by council.
Yeah.
To end pay-to-play, which.
Yeah.
I don't know. If it didn't exist and it were just those people versus those people, and they had to go find their own people to get their donations, it's so much more fair. It's at the point where it is unfair.
Oh, it's absolutely the amount of money that's spent. $2.9 million. Do you think residents here are going to come up with $2.9 million? No.
Yeah, and what would you?
Some of these donors they had on there since and I don't remember the exact date, but basically since the mayor's been in office, $500,000. So in how many years has he been in? 2010ish or so, or I don't know what the year is, but
2009. In the time that the $2.9 million was raised by that side, What do you think the total of all the oppositions has been? What would you guess?
What, do you know the answer? I don't know the answer, but I would guess it's
150 grand. I would say.
I was gonna say 250, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean
that would be on the high side, I imagine. What do they raise typically? $20,000.
About $20,000. Yeah, about $20,000 is probably what anybody that knows.
So yeah, in 10 years is 200 grand, right? So 250 is what I was guessing. Maybe had a good year, maybe had a bad year.
Yeah, so it's
250 to 2.9 million.
The killer is money doesn't mean anything if every single person in this town knows what's going on and they just go out and vote.
Yeah,
money doesn't mean anything. If billboards, signs, mailers, whatever, if the voters knew what was going on and they showed up to vote, that money wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah, but
that happened with you.
What's that?
That happened with you.
Yeah.
What'd you spend? $5 in your campaign? You won.
$400, something like that. Signs,
yeah.
A couple signs.
It's just, man.
It was talking. It's at some point people get fed up and they know.
Yeah, true.
You know, people aren't stupid. I know, like our leaders like to think that people are stupid, and they know how to manipulate situations. But guess what? We're not all stupid, you know. So anyway, so yeah. Anyway, so another. What do you call them? Regular, I guess you say, like at council meetings, got up there and read an entire list. Do you want to go through the whole list here? It's pretty lengthy. It's a 5-minute long
Kick
list,
into a little bit.
Yeah.
Denise Coyne, Choose Landing. Good evening. I wanted to follow up on the pay to play. And I spent some time this afternoon trying to find a document that would help people understand the ramifications of pay to play. And I found a document which was an inter-office correspondence to redevelopment entity, which is council, regarding an application for Lakeside Business Park LLC. And the purpose of the document was the applicant is requesting a redevelopment agreement. And on that applicant, the planner is listed as Addison Bradley, who contributed $19,340 to PACS from 2007 forward. Attorney John Wade of Wade, Long, Wood, and Long, who's contributed $199,800. And then information submitted, there was information submitted by Don Paparone Homes, who contributed $6,000. General notes were prepared by Pannoni Associates, who contributed $163,850. Subdivision plan was prepared by Pannoni Associates. And I found a Lakeside Business Park LLC document listing the partners of Lakeside Business Park LLC. And they include Dave Pannoni, Vince Pannoni, and Andrew Pannoni. So that's one example of how pay-to-play impacts government in Gloucester Township.
So yeah, you pay and you get to play. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Basically, what she pointed out was this thing here just flew right through, and here are the reasons: Addison Bradley, Pannoni, blah blah blah. Go right down the list. Every one of those names, you can look right on their thing and say, "Oh, okay, I know why that happened," and that's what it is.
Yeah.
So And then she expanded even further on the PACs. Those PACs that we talked about, the political action committees, are the ones that are getting other donations. They have to have a treasurer, a chair, a lead person, a chair. So the chair of the PAC is also a lot of familiar names that you might remember, but it's not really one of those things that's public knowledge. But if somebody were to be a geek and look into it, kind of like we do, and say, who is that? Oh, really? That's pretty amazing. That it's it's someone on our planning board, somebody in our schools, somebody in our our solicitor's wife, or a council member up there. Wow, that's crazy that they're actually the chair of these these PACs. So she went through and listed all the names of of the PACs. It was interesting to see. It wasn't surprising to me. I've known that stuff, but to see it on record and on public record,
to see that everybody from all these different committees are all involved in these PACs.
Right.
It is like one big family
Yeah.
of people that are in power that are protecting themselves through these PACs. And
well, they're protecting themselves and their colleagues, their friends.
And the other thing about these PACs,
talk about
too,
a circle of friends. Now, that's a circle of friends that you want to be in.
That's a solid circle of friends.
Yeah.
Another thing about these PACs too is when you get one of these nasty mailers in there, you look at it and you're like, oh, who sent this? Because I got to go talk to these people. So, I can't go and talk to Mercado or Walters or Mignon and say
you can't technically blame them because it wasn't them that did it. It was the PAC. Oh, well, the PAC supports you. Oh, who's the PAC? The PAC is this person.
Yeah, they're hands off. They have no idea.
Oh, I'm completely surprised.
You asked Mr. Carlin.
What did they say? I would never heard of that.
Look at the nasty
letter. I live
letter.
in the same house as the person that did it.
I
have no
school
idea.
Board. That's the school board thing that was laced with lies and and these horrible undertones. When you go and ask the guy who lives with the woman that manages the PAC to send it out, he's like, I have no idea. I have no idea.
No idea.
It's just these PACs are another.
Yeah.
I mean, I
guess games they play, right?
I guess it's a necessary way. I'd say PACs aren't necessary because it is nice to be able to take money from large donors. Or if you do an event, it's an easier way to send the money in to a PAC instead of figuring out. There's a lot of legality behind sending money to like EFOs and stuff like that. So PACs are kind of nice, but also it is just a way for them to hide behind this. But yeah, the list of the PAC managers, it's a list of all the names that you hear over and over and over again. So
yeah, go on the township website. If you see any name on there, guaranteed
they're associated with a PAC. Yeah,
there's a very good chance. Anyway, so we had a follow-up, which I found this one to be very interesting. That we had so eGov is the section of a council meeting where questions that are emailed in are answered. This particular one was a follow-up to a question that was asked, which I don't know that I can say that I've ever seen that happen. Joe, have you ever seen like, hey, we had this question, we didn't know the answer, but we found the answer, and we're also going to actually answer it publicly. Now, I can't say that if they do or don't answer questions behind the scenes of other things that they say they need to get back to you on. However, I can say that the people that I have seen go up there and ask those questions that I know say they have never had somebody ever follow up with a question. And they like to say, or not that they like to say, they also say they'll reach out to them to say, hey, I still have not heard back from you, and you have not given me that answer.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll get the answer, sometimes they won't. This one in particular, for some reason, we decided all of a sudden we're going to follow back up. We're going to answer that question. So Terry Fretz had asked the question of how much money was spent on the bank building in downtown Blackwood, and this was the answer.
I feel like I feel like you answered Terry because Terry's like one of the nicest people in town.
Yeah.
So you want to answer Terry because you can't be mad at Terry. I don't have that clip.
Oh, I thought you had a clip of it.
I did. Somewhere. It's
all right.
Not here.
My bad.
So
the answer that came back though it somewhat blew me away. I had no idea it was this. We were up to this much money.
So the building itself cost $130,000. Basically $131,000.
Right, which we've talked about this before. That's about what you would expect to pay for that thing. There was some remediation that needed to happen with old asbestos, and it's a historic building. Blah blah blah. However,
out of $130,930, $118,030 were
that was a grant.
It's grant money. So
a grant is still taxpayer dollars. However, it's
municipally,
right.
Municipal tax wise, the taxpayers paid $12,900 for that building out of their municipal taxes.
Right.
And we'll get into this part later. So the renovation on the building costs $2,372,550.
That's all.
That's a big renovation.
That's all. I don't know how they do it so cheap.
The grant that came in for the renovation is $118,030. Nope, sorry. The grant for renovation was $1,044,648.
I'm checking your math here.
So
go ahead.
The taxpayers paid on the renovation $1,327,902.
I like how you're so exact. You can't just say 1.3, 1.1.
Well, we got so total. So between the building and the renovation cost, the total Gloucester Township taxpayer out of pocket was $1,340,802 for a building that is not going to generate any tax revenue.
No, it will cost us money to keep it.
Yes.
To keep it up and to pay utilities, and it no longer has tax of the property coming in, and a whole multitude of things.
The bank, the building next door that was dozed and turned into a parking lot.
You will have the ability to have a community center, though, because we don't have enough other places we could use a community center.
Yeah, a lot of community centers.
Or a performing arts center, which
I feel like
2
dance,
buildings down, I think, was one of those.
Yeah, main stage is right there.
Yeah.
$1.3 million out of taxpayer money to create a black box theater.
I will say, the only thing how I do agree with it is that there were renovations that needed to happen as far as remediation of asbestos, mold, whatever was in that building, that the private industry could not, or I should say would not, probably elect to do that. So renovating that building could only have been done probably through something like how it's been renovated. However, the part that I don't agree with is on the use of it. We could have found more creative ways to use that space, similar to how we've talked in the past about brewery or another option other than putting the same thing that we literally have 2 buildings down in another government-owned building.
Yeah, and I think they do some of the performing arts stuff I thought was also done at like the college. So there are places to do it. It just it doesn't make sense there when we look at other examples of what other towns did. It doesn't make sense. But
at any rate,
so now I did mention grant money, and grant money is one of those things where there's like a grant money tree in the backyard. You're just grabbing money from, and you feel good about it. You're like, it's free money. I'm just going to take it. Well, that came up as part of a discussion here, and it was kind of a good back and forth, which turned into a commercial for Dan. But,
yeah. I mean, my daughter's now going to be 14. 3 years ago, she knew the basics of the government does not have any money. They spend taxpayers' money. Yes. They don't have money. So when somebody says, oh, this is grant money that's coming from the government is what? Taxpayer dollars. So that's the point that Ray was making in that thing that then Dan got on a soapbox or his commercial, and but that's how I view things. That's how I've taught my daughter is it's the people's money. It's not the government's money, and that's kind of what Ray. Well, go ahead. Play the.
Ray, I just see this. You're going to spin this to make the people of Gloucester Township think that their taxpayer dollars from their real estate tax bills are used to do this. Now, you're not going to do that, right?
Tax dollars are tax dollars, whether you get it from the
Yeah,
state,
I know, exactly right. But
county,
you're
or
gonna-
what have you, it still comes from our pocket.
Are you going to clarify, when you put this misinformation out there, are you going to clarify that grants are not Gloucester Township taxpayer dollars?
Are you doing a political commercial?
No,
That's where I hear
no,
misinformation
that's what
most
you're
commonly
doing.
used.
That's what you're doing right now. And I'm just curious, are you going to be clear?
That's not misinformation. I said tax dollars, and I was not incorrect. Okay, you can save the commercial for later. All right.
In the end, Troxel says no. It's federal. That's
she
federal
argued, yeah.
It's federal tax dollars. No, it's state tax dollars.
And either way, the federal government also has no money.
Yes, your tax dollars go to your municipality, your state, and federal. So, grant money is still tax dollars. Now, Dan is right. That money, that grant money, didn't come out of your municipal taxes. It came out of your state taxes.
Right.
So, his argument to that, we don't want to spread misinformation.
Right. If you want to get that technical
while we're on
about it,
while
when
we're
you
being completely honest, if you vote for Dan for assembly, you've got some issues. You haven't paid attention at all. I was trying to think of the nicest way to say, but right now he's lying to seniors about lowering their taxes.
Yeah. That's
So,
a whole other thing, but we're not getting
yeah,
into that.
that's it. You know, and you know, when it comes to grants, though, it is a, I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it because I've seen Brian Burns.
Yeah.
Talks about, you know, open space and there's grant money, and it kind of feels good when that grant money goes towards preserving open space, because it's kind of I feel like there aren't people out there that say, I really hate that wooded area over there, that nice field, I hate that, I'd like to see a warehouse on it. At least I don't know anybody like that. So that's one of the things that I think, all right, that's a good use for grant money.
This was what makes America America, right? You can have the opinion of one thing.
Yeah.
Somebody else can have the opinion of something else. Yes, you're right. Grants are a very weird, thing when you think about it. Like I was just so I didn't grow up around here. I grew up a little bit in Burlington County, but so in Morristown, town page thing, there's a discussion going on about 2 weeks ago that on Camden Ave, which is like in the Linola section of Morristown, they did this project, and it's the most ridiculous thing. There's planters that are put out there in the street that's not designed to have these planters and flowers up, and you can't even pull up to a traffic light now. It's directly, you have to kind of go off to the side of it. It's a whole thing. And in the argument, the one guy's argument was people worked really hard on that. And I said, oh my God, I cannot let this go. So do washing machines. Just because you work hard on something doesn't mean it's good, right?
I think you made a Facebook post on that.
Well, if something came up, it's literally what happened was something came up. I said, yeah, no, just because you're good at a meaningless task doesn't make it important. But this is the same thing. It's you just because you worked hard on it doesn't make it a good project. Just because you were able to grab the money that the state was saying is available doesn't make the project good or the right project. In my opinion, maybe in your opinion it does. Maybe you're, for whatever reason, you need, so everyone's opinion is different, and that's I think that's a good thing of how America works. However, it also is a bad thing because it overtaxes residents because there's more money that's needed, because when we create these programs that come up and say, hey, we're going to put however much, $5 million into I can't even think of something ridiculous like saving grasshoppers. or whatever the case is, and then. All right, now you can go write a grant for it. How can I get this money? I'm going to build a shoebox that has you know what I mean? And now people are going out and getting that money. That money didn't necessarily need to be spent. It didn't, in my opinion, enrich somebody else's life. But maybe there's somebody else out there that, oh my God, grasshoppers are the entire meaning of my life. Or you know what I mean? So, it all comes down to.
You know what I like about this discussion too is how your
first time.
I can't keep text messages on if breaking news happens.
Yeah. Okay.
So initially, my thought is, look, I'm a very, I view government as I want it as absolutely small as possible. I don't want to be forced to pay taxes on things that I don't necessarily believe in. So I'm very against taxes
in general.
I mean, look, there's some things that I do see necessary, but we're extremely overtaxed, especially in New Jersey. And when I first started attending meetings, I first started hearing people talk about open space and money going towards it. My thought was, who's going to pay for that? You can't force the taxpayer to pay for that field over there because you think that it looks nice. They may not think that it looks nice, and they may not want to give you their money for taxes. But then as I kind of progressed through this over the years, I started thinking about, well, what do we want our community to look like? And maybe there is maybe we do have to give some of that money to preserve some of those spaces, so that we don't wind up crammed in between warehouses.
Right.
So I definitely changed my mind on going and listening to other people's point of view, and we really kind of lack that right now too. I think you see discussions online about anything as long as it becomes political. As soon as it hits any kind of political,
it doesn't
thing,
even have to be. It doesn't have to hit they make everything political. People intentionally look for reasons to bring politics into a discussion about. Literally, it could be open space or whatever. And climate would be a big one that they could bring into that. Well, you're a climate denier, or whatever. Wait, how did we get here? I was literally talking about preserving open space. Now you're accusing me of. It's a thing that people bring into this conversation.
And going through and looking for, we were looking for topics for the Inside GT Talk podcast.
Yeah.
Couldn't come across anything that was. We didn't want to make that a political podcast, and there was really nothing that was. The
timing wise of I guess what's going on and what people are talking about.
It's a lot of election stuff on there, and we didn't want to really cover that on Inside GT Talk, so we'll hold that off for maybe another week or two.
Yeah, and come on, guys, post something online that's
post something that's pretty good to talk about on there. But one of the there were two big topics on there that got a lot, and school board elections are big right now. There's a lot of discussion on there. There's a lot of really positive discussion, I think.
Are we doing the talk podcast now on this one? Is that what?
No, because we're not
episode here.
I mean, I just kind of wanted to cover
touch
that.
on them. Okay, good.
And talk about just talk about the way that kind of people deal with each other on these topics. The school board discussions are generally really positive. I mean, people have their mind in the right places, and they're looking for the right people, and it's a great thing to see that. Joe D'Amico posted about mail-in ballots, and it's funny how that topic went. Look, the guy's been nailing it now on GT Talk posts.
Oh, he has gotten some really on fire topics.
The last one is almost 600 comments on the what businesses.
Really?
Yeah, it was like 590. I think was the last thing I saw.
Wow, a simple question like that.
Yeah, what businesses did you? And if you haven't checked out that podcast, that was a fantastic podcast that we did with Joe D'Amico and with Mark Matthews on that one. But the last one was hey, here's mail-in ballots. There's a picture of the the mail-in box. You put it in, and there's split decisions on that one too. You got the people out there that they hate. They hate the idea of mail-in ballots. They don't think it's safe, and there's been studies that say that it is, that it isn't. But whatever it is, it's better than you staying home. If you can get out and go and vote, you go out and vote. If you can't, that's the best way to do it. That was one of the discussions. And then next thing, man, it's just people brought in national politics, and it's like, look.
Well, I did see one of your comments was like, well, good thing we're not voting for him this year, like, in Gloucester Township. It's like,
right away. Trump, 2024.
Yeah.
Hey, he's not running for town. He's not
He's
running.
not running for council in Gloucester Township.
Can we stay focused on the issues here? Look, we're talking about potholes and pickleball courts.
Yeah.
We're not talking about anything else. There's no national politics that are ever going to be decided by your councilman. And these discussions are just like people can't talk to each other. They cannot have conversations with each other where they, I don't want to say try to persuade each other, but it is kind of cool when you hear somebody else's point of view and you just think, that's not bad.
Like, give me an example. What do you mean by that? Whose point of view are you?
Well, in my own personal, in my own personal life, over the years, I was a big fan of government-run healthcare. Was one of my big things. I was getting crushed by healthcare costs.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, a single-payer healthcare system would be fantastic. And then as I kind of dug into it and did research on it, and I just was, and this is going to cause more political things. They're going to go, this guy, it just seemed like, look, the government is terrible at managing.
The government's not good at anything.
Managing anything money-wise.
Right.
Anywhere that I put my money that's supposed to be going to saving kittens, it goes over here, and it's like, man, and it's like, okay, people changed my mind on that, and then it was like, all right, if that's not the answer, what is? How do you fix healthcare that way? And then to listen to other people with different ideas talk about it.
Well, it's being open-minded. Some people can't be open-minded. That's just how they're wired.
That was one of the things, though, because there were probably 5 different ways that other people thought could maybe fix our healthcare, and it was interesting to listen to their discussions on that. And then maybe their ideas aren't good, or maybe they are good, and we don't know. We haven't tried them yet, but it's just one of those things. But hearing some of the discussion on there, well, people see that Joe posted it, and they're like, "I'd never vote for that guy. I hate Republicans."
Right? Oh yeah, that dude. Forget him.
And it's like it doesn't matter on this level. It doesn't. We're voting for, like we mentioned before, the machine chose to be Democrats because the machine knew that it could survive as Democrats.
Right.
So the people that are running against the Democrats, they have to look. There's 2 parking spaces. One's already taken. These other people, they got to go into the other one, and that just happens to be actually column 1 this year, I think.
It is column 1, yeah.
So it's column 1 this year. You're going to find it's a Republican ticket, and it bothers me to think that people think I can't vote for those folks because they're Republican. Ask them what they feel about anything that you're particularly concerned about, and they will tell you. They don't go. Nobody here is pulling party lines. I
would also challenge anybody to say what it is that they're against the Republicans on, to say, okay, is that relevant? Do I even have the ability to make a difference in that, in the role that I'm running for right now? And I can almost guarantee you the answer is going to be no. I cannot.
No. I tell you what, council is such a I'm a kind of a political junkie now. I watch it when I'm home. I watch podcasts. I got the news on. I know what's going on in politics. Council is the most boring of it all.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with stuff like trash pickup and potholes,
right?
Pickleball courts. It is not. look, you're not picking. So I ran 2 years ago, independent. I don't like either party 100%. So it's just like to hear people say that I feel some way without ever talking to me. Just man, that bugs me.
Yeah.
So, but look, it's the point is have discussions with people about whatever their beliefs are, and you might learn something. You might find out that the other person's crazy too, but you might learn something.
I have that clip I played on our it's on our YouTube channel, but Jimmy Dore makes a comment about your neighbor is not your enemy. The military industrial complex is your enemy. Big pharma is your enemy, and he goes through a whole list of these are your enemies, not your neighbor. Your neighbor is not. You need to fight against these things, and that's who what when we say we're fighting against the machine, basically is what that
The tough part is when your neighbor votes for it,
right?
And you're like, my neighbor is part of the problem because my neighbor.
But he's still not your enemy just because he voted for it.
My neighbor keeps it alive, and it's kind of like you want to have that conversation with the neighbor, but you gotta learn how to do it though.
Yeah.
You gotta learn how to have that conversation without going, "Hey, Bob, you seem to be an idiot."
I don't know if you know this or not.
You got these Team Mayor signs in your front yard here, and this guy's been doing and so it's I've had conversations recently with people that have had mayor signs in their front yard, and they're like, "Look, it's time for a change. I've kind of woke up to what's going on here, and that's it."
It's hard for people to admit sometimes when they are wrong, or that's the biggest thing.
With Facebook being around for as long as it has been now, you get the memories now, and the memories go back 12, 13 more years than that. And I look back at some of the stuff that I posted politically years ago, and I'm like, I was an idiot. I was. I mean, I didn't know. So when I see people commenting on there, I'm like, that's where I was. That's where I was years ago.
Right.
But I've spent a lot of time in the space now and looking it up, and I think that I'm better for it. And I can't fault people for having what I feel is the wrong decision. So I don't know.
All right, where are we at with this? We're wrapping up.
We hit the end.
Yeah, I think we're at the end of we're running out of tape on this recording.
Yeah.
Remember those back in the day?
When's it? The next council meeting is that on Wednesday, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think
we will fill you guys in when we find out.
Well, I think I believe it is. I think that there is. Was there a holiday on the 9th?
Yeah, Columbus Day or Indigenous people. I don't know what it's called anymore.
Oh yeah, they hate Columbus now.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but that's what Columbus Day was.
Okay, so next council meeting is Wednesday the 11th. I would imagine our next council day is our next podcast. Week. Probably gonna be Friday the 13th podcast.
Hey-o!
Yeah.
All right, folks. We will see you soon.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching us, and if you can, subscribe to our podcast, and
we'll see you soon.
Yeah, see y'all soon.